Welcome to Colors, my excuse for talking philosophy, pop culture, where they all intersect with magic. I have got my co-host Mike here, as usual, and special guest Greg. So we're going to talk about Puella Magi Madoka Magica. It's an anime that came out in about 2011. It's about magical girls. So how the show works, for those who haven't seen it before, we've got our little hand of cards here. Each one represents the different colors of magic, and we are going to have a debate about what colors each character would be if they were in the magic universe. A quick rundown: white. White is the color of utilitarianism, the color of equality, it's the color of morality. Blue. Blue is the color of progress. It is the color of rational thought over impulsive decisions. Black. Black is the color of amorality. Black is look out for number one, which is yourself. Do whatever you can to get ahead, and consequences will be damned, as long as you aren't the one that gets in trouble. Red is the color of impulsivity. It's the color of passion. Art is the one that goes with its gut and doesn't like to waste time. And green. Green is the color of community, live and let live, survival of the fittest, fatalism. What happens is what was bound to happen. What we're going to do here is everybody's got their little hand here, and they're going to pick up whatever colors they think the character is, and then we will reveal at the same time, and then we're going to argue about it. And fists may be thrown. All right, so let's get right to it. We are going to start with Sayaka. All right, everybody ready?
I'm excited about this.
And reveal. All right.
Oh, wow.
So Greg and I, we agree. Mike picked white and blue. So we all agree on the white. So let's talk about that.
She becomes a magic girl purely to save someone, as well as her whole dream is to kill witches.
Yep.
So.
Her wish is very selfless.
Yes, but not very smart. One thing that really bugs me about it is like, oh, she didn't completely cure him. Like, oh, sorry, I forgot about your legs.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard at that.
That was pretty hard to watch because she fixes his hand and then he's stuck in the hospital for a couple more weeks while his atrophied legs prepare.
I'll be realistic with you. That's why I'm kind of curious on the blue part, because as far as brains go, she's
not a lot of forethought.
Darren will hate me for our friend Darren will hate me for saying this.
You want me to say why I thought that?
Yeah. So we agree on red. So let's get your viewpoint on blue. Why do you think blue?
Mind over matter.
Okay.
She was the one that completely blocked out the pain for her fighting style. So there's really no better example than mind over matter than letting one's body be destroyed by mentally blocking out pain.
That's a good point.
I'd say that's
a
more
good
of a
point.
red thing, though, because that's super reckless. She knew that if her body gets destroyed, that still ends her life, almost.
I missed my notes. I also had red.
It is very reckless. Oh, so you're going red, white, and blue. She's American.
She's an American.
She's American. All right, that I understand more. I personally believe she would just be red and white because her motivation for doing that, for blocking out all the pain, is because she just doesn't want to hurt anymore.
And she also doesn't want to hurt
Not
other
even
people
just physically,
as well.
mentally, because she just had that whole breakup, and that's when Cubate told her, like, well, you can block out all pain.
Yeah,
Feel absolutely nothing. It wasn't she thought through this, like, I could do better if I did. It was I don't want to feel anything anymore.
This wasn't a thoughtful decision of, if I block out the pain, I can fight better, and by that means I can be better at what I do. It's more of, well, I'm miserable. I might as well just block out all the pain so I don't feel anything anymore.
But from a legal perspective, like she did it more than once and with forethought. So
she did do it more than once, and she did do it with forethought.
So legally, she's a blue.
She, I don't know, but I think though the consequences of her doing that drives her to become a witch. So basically ending her life.
But she didn't know that she would turn into a witch. That's when they discovered that.
I guess that's a good point.
Oh, I thought they figured that out.
No, that's why they figured it out. Well, that's why most of them did.
Yes.
Yeah, it's because
I don't know. I guess I could give you a little bit of blue, I still think that what she did was incredibly reckless. She made her wish without thinking like at all. So
despite all the warning she was given.
so
even from Kube.
Yeah.
So Monica spends an entire month not making a wish because she's afraid of the consequences.
And then forgets the legs.
Although she did nearly almost wish for cake.
And you can ask Cube for a fabulous cake.
Yes, she did almost wish for cake. You gotta remember though, she's like a 12 years old girl.
I know.
It's by far not the worst wish of
yeah. Sayaka almost immediately takes the wish because she thinks it's going to be cool and fun. Which Monica did think the same thing, but she chose not to actually wish for anything.
Is it kind of weird that the pictures that she made of what she thought she would look like as a magical girl actually
was what she looked like?
Yeah, is that foreshadowing or just laziness on the animators?
I think that's actually referencing the fact that there's
she
some
was like that.
Yeah, there's some kind of
memories.
imprint of it because they mention that a couple times.
Oh, you're right.
Whenever Homura just fucking murders Cube with like 50 bullet holes to
Big
the face.
bullet holes. These aren't 9 mils
and
here.
Monica's like, this is familiar. Did you slaughter this creature before? I think that's just a reference to
all
that.
the time.
Yeah. So I'm gonna stick with just red and white.
Same.
And
Red, white.
I'm red, white, and blue.
Red, white, and blue. All right. We're at an impasse. We can't agree. So that's fine.
Mike.
But okay, I'll compromise. I'll go with like
red, white,
half.
and like half of the blue. Half a blue. All right,
She
that's
might
fair.
have some blue abilities.
That's fair. All right. Next up, we're gonna talk about Mommy. All right, ready?
I know it's a tough decision.
Reveal. Okay. So now we're in agreement, and you're the odd one out. So white. Clearly, we all agree on white.
Yeah.
She definitely has a sense of protectionism. Like, she wants to help people. She's honorable. You know, there are plenty of times where she could have just, like, beat the crap out of Homura, and she chose not to. She protected Sayaka and Madoka multiple times. She wants to help people, just in general.
And in the, I think it's episode 11, she chose to kill... Well, she tried to kill all of them to protect the world from... Which...
I'll be realistic, that's the only reason Blue's kind of out for me.
That's why Blue is out for you.
If soul gems give birth to witches, then we have no choice but to die. Both me and you.
Just because I feel that was completely irrational decision on her part. Like, she finds out, oh, we alternate wishes. Let's just murder all of us.
Well, I think that
is selfless, because...
I think that's a very white thing to do because...
Oh, no, what?
Yeah, no,
She's
no,
still
no.
white.
No, I understand what you're saying. I think that's a very white thing to do, though, because she's trying to prevent the spread of harm.
But when she goes off the rails, it's kind of like I can't give her blue then.
See, I was on the fence between blue and green, because they do share some things with, like, confrontation. One of the things she stressed... that is what I think makes her blue. Is she stressed over and over again to Sayaka and Madoka to make sure that they thought long and hard about what their wish was going to be.
Yes, but one thing that really bothers me about her character is she kind of almost pushed them into it.
Yes. Which I think is also goes with the white. Like, she's lonely. It's obvious that she's lonely.
Well, yeah.
She wants people like her, which is a very white thing.
Alright, I gotta say, when you add the whole thing that she was actually, like, pushing for to be very thoughtful and, like,
yes,
their wish thing, I would agree with Blue then.
I think it's slight. I don't think it's nearly as much as the white. I think white is overwhelmingly the trait that she has. But she did stress over and over again. Make sure that you think about what you're going to wish for. This is a serious thing.
The motive behind a wish is what matters most, you know?
She's just lonely. Like, that's the whole white. Like, she wants somebody like her so she doesn't have to be lonely again.
But she also doesn't want them to have regrets.
Yes, exactly. So I think mostly white. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
And a little bit of blue. All right. Up next, we're going to talk about Nagisa, which I don't actually know if they say her name in the movie. She is the witch Charlotte that is the little witch thing Bebe in the movie. The one that actually eats Mommy in the show. That is a girl named Nagisa. You also have to remember that Nagisa is like she's like 9 years old.
Younger than any of the girls.
Yeah, she's like 9 years old. So like,
so Mommy's
she's the oldest.
And,
well, technically Homer is the oldest, but that's
we'll
get it.
yeah.
All right, so ready?
What are all those horrible colors?
And go. Oh, okay. You guys think red? Red, I can see red.
The only
definitely.
reason red, she's full. I mean, if you find out what her wish was,
Yeah, she's
her
reckless.
wish was to have a last piece of cheesecake with her mother as she's on her
Her
deathbed.
dying mother.
And then
Okay.
she turns into witch immediately because she found out, oh, I could have wished for my mother to be healed afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah, it turns out that prepubescent and pubescent girls not the best at making long-term life decisions.
That was in some of the production notes. I actually did recently read that's not necessarily what her character is going to be, but that's what they turned that prototype character into. They had the plan of it's this girl that wishes for just some cheesecake for her dying mother so she can have one last meal with her mother. And then when she finds out, oh, she could have wished for her mother to be cured, she just immediately turns into a witch. So we don't know actually for sure if that's what her character is like, but it's pretty safe to assume. And I just wanted to bring her up because not everybody knows about that, and I wanted you guys to know that that's what happened to her. It's pretty terrible.
By the way, you didn't say why green.
Oh, I picked green because it's the whole sense of community thing. I could have picked red or green, honestly, in equal measure. Because, you know, she's a little kid, she wants a cheese.
I wanted to eat cheese one more time.
And mostly just because, like, she's very non-confrontational. The little her character actually was shown in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Her character is very non-confrontational. She just wanted to eat cheese and be left alone. So that's why I picked green.
The way that she killed Mommy was by eating her, and I just realized that the way that she became a witch was food-related, and her character's food-related.
Yeah.
I never made that connection.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, a connection you might not also make, but the song that goes in, it's in German, but it's singing about cheese the entire time.
Yeah.
Now, if there's any language that would have a song about
Cheese,
cheese, I
it would be
imagine
German.
it would be German.
It would be
Well,
German.
that's the thing.
German or Italian.
Little spoiler, I learned at a Madoka panel at a thing I went to. Japanese did not figure that out. They didn't think the witch's language had any meaning. They thought it was
Really?
random symbols. It wasn't until the show went to Germany, and the Germans were
Nice.
like, "That's actually words. Like,
Wow.
what
Oh.
is this?"
That's great.
Oh my, that's
great.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Comments, they said they were completely disappointed that no one tried to decipher it or that. And
Yeah.
then like went to Germany, they're discovering all the like different stuff. What it was. Yeah.
Well, it does surprise me that nobody found it, but it doesn't surprise me that there were Easter eggs like that because they did a lot of that in Madoka Magica.
yeah.
Walpurgisnacht is actually a holiday in Germany. People that have watched the movie have probably seen this. In the movie, when Sayaka and Nagisa turn into their little witch forms whenever they're fighting Homura, they kill themselves to do that. Sayaka stabs herself with her sword, and Nagisa actually throws herself into a blender with a bunch of cheese. I never
I
noticed.
actually did not.
I didn't
know
notice
that.
it the first time.
I
Yeah,
didn't
go
know.
back like 2/3 of the way through the movie or so. Whenever you find out that Homura is the witch and they're all inside her head, basically. Up next, we're gonna go with Kyoko, which Kyoko was a little harder for me, but not too bad.
I've
She's-
had some change of mind with some things.
Got a lot to talk about.
And go. All right. Once again, we're mostly in agreement. So red, we all picked red. So let's go with that. She is brash. She's impulsive. She speaks her mind all the time. She is quick to anger.
Greedy.
What else?
Well,
Greedy, that's
not
more of a black
thing, and that's why we have black.
Yeah.
Oh. Sorry,
Did
I
you
read-
forget one?
No.
Are we all in agreement
I
then?
read it wrong. Alright.
Oh, just black. Okay. So black. We're all agreed on black. She's greedy. She only looks out for number one. She explicitly states that you should use your powers for yourself.
Dummy. Magic always was and always should be used for one thing, to grant wishes for yourself.
She's probably stolen a bunch of food, probably all of the food she's ever eaten, because she's also like an orphan now after her entire family
Yes.
is
How
killed.
does? Never mind. I'll bring it up later.
She has no problem breaking the law. She's perfectly fine with letting people die. She tells everyone that they should let the familiars turn into witches so you can get the grief seeds from them. Very amoral. Absolutely looking out for number one. And then the reasons that we stated for red, very emotional. She chokes out Sayako whenever she won't eat an apple that she gave her.
Who hasn't done that?
Yeah, that's good. Apples are great. She's also a very good friend. when she actually becomes friends with Sayaka, she basically sacrifices herself so that Sayaka doesn't have to suffer anymore as a witch. Which you could say is selfless, but she's more doing that out of this sense of camaraderie. That's not necessarily a light thing.
And you know that the red color that her hair has, like anime hair colors actually have a color coding of their own. Like red characters are often like impulsive, like created like that. Like blue are quiet and like think of Ray.
Sayaka didn't follow that trait.
No,
No, she didn't. There are exceptions.
No, she did not. Unless you can convince me otherwise, I'm sticking with red and black.
Yeah, red, black's pretty.
You've convinced me on the red,
Red,
honestly.
Red and black.
Because she's definitely passionate. No,
she's pretty evenly split, honestly. I think she fits it both really well.
Agreed.
Okay. After Kyoko, we're gonna go to Madoka.
I'm the only one who can do this!
Main character. Now, Madoka was a little harder for me. She doesn't really do a lot throughout most of the series. She's almost more of like the plot device.
Yeah, she's like the R2D2.
Yeah.
Basically.
But it's not that she doesn't have a character. It's just that she doesn't really do much throughout the story.
And her power comes from the other character going back in time constantly.
That's
so
true.
It's not even, she didn't even, for lack of a better word, earn it.
Yeah, it's true. And reveal.
Oh,
Blue.
we're all in green.
We all in agreement. This is not an exciting one. So let's actually start with blue, because I feel like that's a lot less obvious.
I think it's the most obvious.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Well then, hit me with your best shot. Fire away.
She changes the whole way the system works,
Okay.
and that's the most progress that you can. I mean, when's the last time this happened in
True.
America? Like 1776.
That's true. Entirely rewriting the universe.
Are you trying to become a god?
Yeah, the universe.
Yeah, that's a good
itself.
point. That's a good point.
You notice that when it spreads through the whole universe, there's a huge mistake. When it spreads in that triangular pattern,
Yes.
that's the visible universe, but only because the observatories are blocked by the ecliptic of the Earth. Like, it's not actually that shape, but they just took it as literally
Yeah.
being that shape. Like, it's all around, but it's like,
Wow,
that's
wow.
just because of the Earth.
I'll have to watch that again so I can see it. Yeah, blue. Do you have anything to add, Greg?
Not really. Honestly, if anything, I would have maybe even put in some red in afterthought.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic. She almost traded her wish for cake.
Huh? Seriously?
Think about it a little more, maybe, before you wish just for cake.
She actually almost wished just to be a magical girl.
I remember that. I was like,
Yeah.
is this a translation error?
Yeah. She almost wished for absolutely nothing because that's a side effect of getting a wish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would that have broken the universe? Because it's based off of...
Because Kyubey says you get a wish and you become a magical girl. If she wishes for being a magical girl, then who knows what happens. I'm sure they have some kind of failsafe. Like, the incubators are obviously these really manipulative, amoral planners. And these are little girls. So they're probably going to be like, well, I just wish to be a magical girl because I want to have magic.
They never felt safe for rewriting the whole universe.
Yeah,
so
that's true, I guess.
I'm
but
sure they didn't think that far ahead.
definitely blue. I didn't even think about the entirety of like rewriting the universe as some type of progress, but that's very true. I don't think that's actually, well, it is kind of her motivation, but I think white is more important.
White she's definitely hugely white.
I think white is by far her most defining color because she sacrifices her entire identity in all of existence, ever, throughout all of time.
All 13 years.
Yes, all 13 years. And any other years she would have after that.
Oh, I forgot about this.
To take on the burden of all of the magical girls that have ever existed simultaneously, which you can't really get much more selfless than that.
Mhm.
Like sacrificing.
Oh yeah, I've
she even did it multiple times over and over again with supposedly the timeline before this last one when she sacrificed herself. Her wish was to destroy Valpurgisat,
Mhm.
and then that which instantly turned her into a witch.
Yep.
So
Oh, I
that,
didn't
Absolutely.
realize that's what
Yep.
happened.
Yeah.
And she
the grief
also
seed thing.
Yep, she also sacrificed herself with her last grief seed to save Homer.
yes.
Which you could actually argue it was a little selfish because she was like, make sure I don't turn into a witch.
It's like saving Doc
Basically.
Brown. I mean, of course you're going to save Doc Brown. He can go back and save you.
Exactly. We can't know, but I doubt she had that in mind. She probably just wanted to save
Well,
Homer.
I mean, we've seen how these
Honestly,
people make wishes.
Yes.
I don't know how much Homer was honest about her abilities.
Oh, in that
Then.
timeline, she
Yeah.
might not have.
She
Yeah, for all we
might
know.
not
No,
even
no,
have
no.
left
She actually mentions it. She mentions you can
going
go back in
or
time,
stopping.
right?
Oh, that's right. Yes,
Yeah,
she
so
does.
she knew.
does.
She knew.
She does
Right.
mention that. That's very
Completely
true.
selfish now.
Yeah, absolutely selfish. Yeah,
Terrible
person. All right, so white blue, pretty even. I'd say white more than anything, but she's definitely got a lot of blue in her. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, blue. She's very thoughtful of what she's actually going to wish for.
Oh yeah.
Because she takes the longest. It's not
she
impossible
never,
at all.
She never jumps the gun. The only time that she actually makes a wish is when she feels like her hand is forced. Which is
For the
that's-
last two timelines we saw,
Yes.
that was at the very end
At the-
with Fall Percocet.
Yeah, absolutely. When she has no other choice, so she's obviously just playing blue traits by trying to think about it as best she can to make the best decision.
And also free will. She gives people the ability to make the choices again.
Yeah. All right. So Madoka, we got blue-white. Pretty solid. That's a good one. All right. Next, Homura. Homura is, I believe, the most multidimensional character.
Oh, she's my favorite.
Would you shut up already?
Everybody good? And boom. Okay. So just black and blue, and I got everything but white. All right. So let me explain myself real quick. Everybody's got black. I think we can all agree on that.
I start off with the black, being that's the only color I chose.
Yes.
My obvious reason for black is her own wish is the whole time she's doing this, it's completely for herself. Even saving Madoka is for herself. It doesn't matter how Madoka is saved. I'm pretty sure Madoka could live in her closet, and as long as she's alive, she'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
And that's her sole purpose.
Okay, so that is exactly why I picked green. Because green is all about community, it's all about friendship, it is about tightly knit society. And she's not being selfless, obviously.
No.
But her motivation is to save Madoka. Above all else is to save Madoka, which is why I picked green. Now, by the end of the movie, I don't actually even think she's green anymore. I think throughout the series, she is black, blue, and green. Her motivation is to save Madoka.
Everything has to do with her.
She just wants to save Madoka.
Why don't you ever think about all the people who love you?
Madoka needs to be saved.
Madoka, my one and my only friend.
She's gonna spend as much time as she can
I'll do it over, no matter how many times it takes.
making sure that she does everything right within her power to save Madoka.
I will find the way out.
She doesn't care what happens to anybody else,
I don't give a damn if you live or die. I don't care.
as long as Madoka is saved.
And I'm gonna do whatever it takes to stop you.
When the movie comes along and she turns into a witch, I think she's red, black, and blue because she doesn't care about the consequences to anything as long as Madoka can become a normal person again and she can have Madoka back.
She's willing to sacrifice the entire universe.
Yes, in my notes I wrote down, rewrites entire universe for one person, potentially ruining countless beings' lives by giving all negative emotions to incubators. So, Mike, do you want to address why you picked black and blue?
Nature over nurture.
Nurture over nature.
Yes.
Yes.
Because she rewrites history.
Mhm.
So definitely blue on that one.
Yeah.
Mind over matter, she's extremely determined, maybe not as much as a good example of that was like the blocking out the pain, but she's very simple-minded
Yes,
about that.
absolutely. She has absolutely no problem punishing others to get what she wants, and she will go to any lengths to do so. She lets herself, well, we can't tell the motivation from when the movie starts, because it's all left ambiguous as to how she turns into a witch. You don't know if she's planning that ahead of time or if that's just what happens.
Honestly, from what I understood, towards the end of the movie, the incubator set it up mostly, and she used that against them.
Yes, well, when she turns into a witch, the incubators, put her into the stasis field, basically, where she's trapped inside her own mind so they can observe what happens. Because in this universe, they don't know that there are witches.
Oh, that's right.
Because in that that was after the universe had been rewritten, where magical girls just disappear after their magic runs out.
And that brings up another reason why I chose blue is knowledge. She and every iteration is always the only one that has a key piece of information.
Oh, absolutely.
Even in the movie, she knows more than the incubators.
Mm-hmm. Another reason I picked Red, she's completely willing to let herself turn into a witch just so the incubators can't get to Madoka. Like, damning herself to an existence of misery just so they can't get to Madoka.
I will accept the blue.
Okay.
I only disagree with you on the green because your sort of reasoning, from my understanding of that, is because it's friendship with Madoka.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I only see as a friendship with her through, at least at the very end. Maybe at the beginning when she first made the wish to go back and save her. But at the point where you really see her, to me, it seems more like possession than friendship. Like, she wants Madoka.
I've got you.
I guess so.
Still seems like friendship to me.
The reason I picked
You have some
green,
weird
though,
friendships, man.
the reason I picked green for the series is because even by the end of the series, she's still willing to sacrifice herself.
Oh.
She goes out of her way to make sure that Madoka doesn't make that wish, and you can tell by the very end, like when she's about to turn into a witch or die or whatever, that she does not want Madoka to make the wish. So she's not being selfish. Her intentions are genuine at the end of the series. Now, by the end of the movie, gone.
Yeah.
Donezo. Absolutely no green. She's totally black, red, and blue, I feel. Alright, so what do we got? Have I convinced? I convinced you to pick up blue. I think it's definitely blue and black more than anything.
You definitely convinced me. Well, I agree with
that. I still think she's black, red, and blue.
The red, it's just that.
She delights in the fact that the incubators now carry all the burdens of all the magical girls.
And I will agree with that.
Okay, you got me on that one.
Yeah.
She absolutely, she turns into that demon, and she's holding Kyubey by the tips of her fingers, and she's like, "I got plans for you, bitch."
Enjoy that too.
And then you see her dancing on the hillside, with the weird half moon, and she's just ecstatic. You can tell. So yeah,
as much emotion as she
as
shows
much
at the end.
emotion as she can possibly show. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sticking to it.
I have been converted.
All right.
Partially.
All right, I did it.
I still don't accept the green, but sure.
The green, that's fine. We can disagree on the green. I'm really on the fence about the green, to be perfectly honest with you. But I just think that her character makes such a shift from the series to the movie that I had to give her something else. All right, so Kyubey is our last.
Kyubey.
Gonna end it out with Kyubey. I got 2.
I got 3, actually.
3? Yeah, I'm interested to see that.
No, I only have 2.
I think
as well.
Kyubey's pretty two-dimensional.
Well, they're all two-dimensional.
You got me there.
Even I'm growing up on one.
And reveal. Okay, you got blue. So, white and black. Let's talk about the white first. I mean, nobody likes Kyubey by the end, I'm pretty sure. So I want to talk about what he potentially has as redeeming qualities.
I like Kyubey.
Well, you're alone.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the white.
All right.
He's a utilitarian.
That's why I like it.
Yes.
Yes. Through and through. The fact that he has no morals means that he's not swayed by emotion, which means that he can do whatever he thinks is best for the most amount of people.
If your civilization benefits from their sacrifice, why should the lives of a few people matter in the grand scheme of things?
The entire purpose of the magical girl thing is to stop entropy of the universe, to keep civilizations from dying out, because eventually the universe will run out of energy.
I can grant the most impossible of miracles.
That is a very white thing. It's all about the needs of the many over the needs of the few. Sacrifice a couple magical girls to give some energy back to the universe.
Yeah, you have to break a few magical girls to make an omelet.
Make a universe omelet. Next, black. Horrible creature. Just the worst. Absolutely terrible. Preys on little girls.
Morals whatsoever.
Basically like a pedophile that doesn't do pedophile stuff. Hunts these little girls down and is like, hey, you want to make a deal? And instead of taking their innocence, he takes their souls.
Oh, he takes their innocence pretty well.
Yeah,
too.
I guess
Just in
so.
a
But
different way.
that's a side effect of his entire plan. He doesn't care about that.
That's the ends justifies the means right there.
Yes. So white and black makes the absolute perfect amoral utilitarian. They'll do whatever needs to get done to benefit the whole over the individual. Anybody have anything to add?
He's complete. It's for the universe, but at the same time, do whatever by whatever means.
He's also shameless.
Yeah, that's very true.
He's unapologetic.
Oh, also, I'd like to add, for the white, very honest.
I would have stopped her if I thought her dying was pointless.
But for the black,
very
duplicitous.
I disagree with the honesty thing, because lying through omission is still lying. If he gave them for full consent, they have to understand, and he intentionally withholds it.
I agree.
I tell you, I just didn't inform
I
you.
agree, but you also have to realize, and this is just splitting hairs. We have to realize this is a completely different species of creature that does not have emotion.
You see, in our society, the phenomenon you call emotion is considered a mental disorder.
Yeah, but it's not just the emotion thing. He also leaves out that they turn into witches eventually. If they knew that, then...
I think that was even covered in the show, though, because he's like, well, you guys didn't ask.
Yes,
because that
that's
was
exactly what I was
why
about to
didn't
say.
you tell us? And it's like, you didn't ask.
Yep.
You got me on that one. Different species.
I think it's totally cheese in the system. He's honest about everything that's asked of him. He unabashedly tells everyone about what they want to know when they ask him.
They were surprised humans existing, having emotions as a
And not just killing each other?
Yep.
Wait, you guys have emotion?
All right, so what about that blue?
So for me with blue, it's more of because they set up this whole process system. They're obviously very intelligent creatures. They made a whole system around preventing entropy in the universe. Obviously, they have a high intellect. They have high, maybe not perfection, but they're pushing towards that in ways.
You got me on that one.
I agree. I think I agree with you. Also, the whole distancing yourself from emotion.
Yeah, that's a
they don't
blue
have
thing
them.
too. Yeah.
They don't have them, so they can't. They got plenty of distance.
Well, from a technical standpoint, they don't distance themselves from emotion because they don't have emotion.
Yeah, we're good. We're gonna go with Esper, black, blue, white, and I think it's pretty even split, honestly. Two-dimensional character. Everything that you see is what you get. There's nothing under the surface for those things.
We put holes all through them. There's nothing there.
Yeah, it's true. It's just
and
like
then
this.
apparently they just eat the carcass and move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought that was awesome.
I did too.
All right, so
Nothing goes to waste because it's the entropy thing.
Exactly. Yeah, utilitarian. Gladly cannibalize themselves to save that energy.
I mean, I eat all my old clones.
It's not weird at all. The next segment, we're going to talk about the cards that I picked out that I believe are representative of the show and the characters. Note, we always have these chats right on time. We make the notes up ahead of time, obviously, but we don't consult about what colors which characters are. So they're going to be colors that maybe we didn't come to agreements on, which, whatever, that's fine. All right, so the show as a whole, a card called Back from the Brink. It's from Innistrad. It's an enchantment that basically gives your creatures flashback. So you can take a creature card that's in your graveyard and make a token of it that's a copy of it, and you exile the creature from the graveyard. I think that is a perfect example of what happens to the Magical Girls, because they are themselves, but they're not really themselves after they turn into one. Their soul is detached from their body is just a shell, so they've changed into something different that just happens to look exactly like them. And then horrifying revelation. I actually had a little epiphany. I had a little epiphany today when I was trying to think of cards for each of the characters, and I realized there's this tipping point for most of the characters where they have this horrifying revelation, which is a card where your opponent has to discard a card and then they mill the top card of their deck. It's supposed to represent that person having a horrifying revelation and starting to go insane. So what I'm going to talk about is each character will have a set of cards from before they have their horrifying revelation, and then a set of cards that happen after. We'll start, I'll just go down the line from the order we went in originally. Sayaka, before her horrifying revelation, is actually represented really well by Danitha Capuchin, Paragon. The reason that I picked this card is actually the flavor text. I think it fits perfectly. It says, I will protect the less fortunate, I will love bravely, I will face despair and fight on. As a Capuchin, I can do no less. And that's just really indicative of Sayaka's character in the beginning of the show. She's duty-bound. After her horrifying revelation, I picked a couple cards. The Mirror Mad Phantasm, which is a creature that you can pay 2 mana, you take it from play and you shuffle it into your deck, and then you start revealing cards from the top of your deck until you find it again, and you put it back into play. And then all those cards from your deck are put in your graveyard. In Magic, losing cards from your deck is representative of you losing your mind, basically. Mirror Mad Phantasm is like a combo card. You usually use it with like Laboratory Maniac or something, so you can mill your entire deck and then instantly win. But the original intended purpose of it, or at least one of them, is use that ability to save itself. So like if it's about to die, you can pay some mana, shuffle into your deck, you lose some of your cards, and you get it back. That's representative of her using her healing ability while she slowly loses her mind. Another card I want to talk about was Lone Rider, which is from the Eldritch Moon set, which transforms into It That Rides as One. This horrible eldritch abomination with just teeth and tendrils everywhere. So that is her using her healing ability, going crazy, and then turning into a witch, basically. As for Mommy, she starts out with Miraculous Recovery, a card that returns a creature from your graveyard to play and then gets stronger, which is basically what happens to her whenever she turns into a magical girl. She was about to die, she makes a wish, she becomes a magical girl, stronger than before. I also just wanted to mention the card Dramatic Rescue, because there's that part where she dramatically rescues Sayaka and Madoka, which I also think would fit pretty well with her character, because she is very protective. After Horrifying Revelation, though, is the card Planar Collapse. So Planar Collapse is an enchantment where if you have 4 or more creatures out in play, then you sacrifice Planar Collapse and destroy all the creatures. So this is representative of the timeline where she finds out that magical girls turn into witches. The flavor of Planar Collapse is that as more creatures come, the place gets more corrupted. It's from an old story, one of the old stories in the Urza Saga block, where Urza, the main character, he hides out on this plane, this idyllic plane filled with angels, and he's tracked by the Phyrexians who are hunting him, and they end up flooding the plane, and he collapses the entire plane to save his own because he uses the energy from that plane to power this interplanar ship called the Weatherlight. That's basically what Mommy's trying to do. She's trying to save others by killing all the other magical girls. Nagisa didn't have any cards because we just kind of decided to talk about her.
No food cards.
No food cards, but Hot Soup. You can do Hot Soup. That's a cool card.
No cheese-related cards.
Not that I can think of. There are rats, but not. I don't think they actually mention any cheese really.
No.
Hot Soup is an equipment that makes creature unblockable. If they're dealt damage, then the creature is destroyed. Kyoko. She actually fits well with the origin story for Liliana. I was talking to Greg about this just before we started filming. She's trying to help the people around her, but her wish goes horribly awry. She ends up having her entire family killed, basically. Now, Liliana didn't have her entire family killed, but she turned her brother into a zombie. And from that point on, she's looking out for number 1, which is exactly what Liliana is. Also, I picked Threaten because she likes to threaten. She's very threatening. And I just thought that was fitting. And after all of that, I also think that she fits the character of Olivia Voldaren very well, who is a vampire from Innistrad, who's a recluse, lives off on her own, very indulgent, just does whatever she wants to do, and has absolutely no problem leaving people behind if it benefits her. In the end of the Eldritch Moon story arc, the vampire Soren Markov is trapped in this giant stone pillar, and she could easily help him out of it, but chooses not to, and lets him suffer, embedded in a big stone pillar, to watch the entire plane get overrun by Eldrazi. Next is Madoka. Madoka's a little hard. She's not in combat much at all.
She's not in combat, and her character isn't developed nearly as much.
Yeah, for a main character, she's not really developed a lot.
So that's a problem that a lot of main characters have.
Yeah.
Honestly, with her, you get more character development from her and the backstories of the other timelines than you do actually during the actual show.
Exactly. It's more about her trying to make that decision and basically Homer trying to save her from making that decision. But I chose Peacekeeper because she doesn't want anybody to fight.
Yeah.
And then after the Horrifying Revelation, when she finally decides what wish she wants to make, I picked the card Divine Intervention. It's an enchantment. Comes into play with 2 counters. Beginning of upkeep, you remove a counter. When you remove the last counter, game's over and it's a draw. And I thought that was a perfect card for it. It's a super, super old card. It's not, nobody even wins. The game's just a draw. And I thought that was absolutely perfect because nobody really does win. The magical girls, they don't have to worry about their suffering anymore. But they still have to fight the wraiths.
And they still die at the end if they lose.
And they still, they still die. They go to heaven basically with Madoka, but they still die. The incubators, they don't get to machinate their horrible plans to harvest energy from little girls, but they still get their energy from the wraiths, just not as much. Nobody's really a winner. It's just a draw. Also, she rewrites the entirety of the universe, and Divine Intervention ends the game, which basically is like ending the universe.
Madoka just made their job like it's gonna take longer to do.
Yep, exactly. Up next is Homura. Oh, Homura, I'm so excited for. All right, so this is a first, and it's going to be really rare if I'll ever get to do this again. But I actually thought up of a card combo that's perfectly representative of what Homura becomes. Before her horrifying revelation, which she actually has a lot.
Yeah.
And it actually speaks to the integrity of her character that she's so stable throughout most of the show. I'm going to go with Time Stop. That's her ability. She stops time. I mean, it's pretty simple. That's pretty much her throughout the entirety of the show. Her character is just her motivation to stop Madoka from dying, pretty much. And subsequently ending the world, which I don't really know if she even cares about that much.
No,
I think she directly says that she doesn't.
Yeah, but after, at the end of the movie, the card combo is, and some of you may be familiar with this, World Fire and Oblivion Ring. So, Oblivion Ring's an enchantment, removes a permanent from play, as long as it's in play. When Oblivion Ring leaves play, the permanent comes back. You get Spirit of the Night out, and I pick Spirit of the Night because it's a demon, which she becomes. It's also a demon that has haste, so it works perfectly with the combo. You put Spirit of the Night out, you cast Oblivion Ring, exile your Spirit of the Night, so it's now removed from play. Then you cast World Fire. World Fire is a sorcery that basically destroys everything. Everybody loses their hand, all their cards, all of their permanents are removed from play, and everybody's life total becomes 1. So when you do that, everything's removed from play, the Oblivion Ring goes away, your Spirit of the Night comes back. The World Fire is her rewriting the universe. Everything's gone. The Oblivion Ring goes away, Spirit of the Night comes out, that's Homer as a demon who is just infinitely more powerful than everything else. Boom, smacks Kyubey for, I think it hits for 6, I think it's like a 6/5. Kyubey's at 1 life, Kyubey's dead. And Kyubey, I have a couple cards for, which he doesn't really have a horrifying revelation because he is the horrifying revelation. Glimpse the Unthinkable, he shows Madoka and, well, all the other magical girls that ask for it, the horrible, horrible things that happen to the magical girls and the history of mankind, how they have motivated the entirety of humankind. And Glimpse the Unthinkable is basically that, like you see something that you couldn't think would be possible. Malicious Advice, he gives terrible advice all the time. I mean...
Okay, that's good. Okay.
Puppet Strings,
Right.
which can tap or untap, it's an artifact that can tap or untap a creature. He's doing stuff behind the scenes. He doesn't ever lie about anything. He only says the stuff that would benefit him directly unless also asked directly.
He's like a lawyer.
Yep.
Oh
pretty
yeah,
much.
very much.
Pretty much, yeah. And finally, Icarid, which is a creature that you can never get rid of. 3/1 with haste for 4. Doesn't sound that special, but at the beginning of your upkeep, if he's in your graveyard, you can just remove a black card in your graveyard from the game, bring him back into play. No matter how many times you kill him, he just keeps coming back. So yeah, that's all the cards that I had. Do you guys have anything else you want to add?
We're filming this on Canada Day.
Oh yeah, Happy Canada Day.
Happy Canada Day.
We actually meant to do this at the beginning of the show, but I completely forgot about it. All right, everyone, thanks for watching. I hope you had a good time. If you guys have any ideas from what you want to see, just feel free to put something down in the comments. And if we have seen it, or some combination of us have seen it, I will gladly check it out. All right, thanks everybody for watching. Hope you had a good one, and we'll see you next time.